late Steve Jobs. He said, ideas are cheap, but it's the craftsmanship that's hard. And it's in how you do things. So, OpenAI had come up with this chip. Apple saying, well, wait, hold on. There's some things here that were ours from the IP protection. And this is something that we talked about in an earlier episode about, like, why should I have all of my intellectual property and do that when I know China can just take it and they have no repercussions? It's only the United States. So if they don't go in the United States, they just go to the rest of the global market. They can just copy my product. So why should I do that? It doesn't make sense anymore. They've got to change the process on that from a global infrastructure standpoint, which I think that's going to get super messy because of the amount of laws.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. Kyle's not a lawyer, but for those that pass the bar exam, I would be very curious to see commentary for those that are interested in this topic. So leave a comment on that if you could.
Yes.
But let's talk about just a couple things about keeping our information safe. The reality is that there's two places that a lot of your information, well, actually really three, but two. So it's either in systems, okay, like actual like data infrastructure systems that you're logging in, et cetera, from a technology enablement standpoint. Okay, there's only two real places. So those systems or your people. It's and so those systems might be, maybe you're using the Dewey Decimal System and you're still an old antiquated, everything's on a piece of paper, which honestly, sometimes keeping those things secret and under lock and key might be the better option nowadays, as crazy as things are getting. But it's either your people or your systems. And so if you can't lock both of those down and how those things are integrated, essentially the craftsmanship, not necessarily the ideas, not necessarily the code, but if you can figure out a way to lock both of those down the right ways, you're going to be able to win. So if Apple said, we got to make sure that people can't keep their laptops anymore, we're going to have company issued computers and you have to be over a special IP, you must send all of your stuff back in. If you don't, here's the repercussions that go with it. And not only are you breaking this, you also can go after the businesses that are taking that information, and especially if they have, for cause. And that's one way to lock it down for the employees. Rescind access immediately. Basically have a way that they can't even log into the computer anymore, even offline, is another way from a technology and systems aspect. Essentially, it's like if you're gone, you're gone. Like there's no more, especially if you're seeing a trend. So if you see 2, 3, 4 people leave, not 400, like 400 is crazy talk. It's like saying, well, I didn't catch it after the first one. I'm not going to even bother to catch it. And so we're just going to be lazy. So that's lazy. That's lazy leadership, frankly. And that's also lazy from a systems perspective, that they couldn't even catch this trend even at 100, nevertheless 400 people.
They should have been more proactive about this. It shouldn't have ever got to this point. I agree that leadership they did something wrong. And I can hear people say it would have been so much more costly to revoke access and all this stuff. Yeah, it would have been costly. You're absolutely right. There would have been all sorts of costs. It would have been less than litigation, and these trade secrets walking out the door.